Now, new research suggests the dagger in Tutankhamun's tomb has extraterrestrial origins. Scientists who analysed the metal composition of the blade say it was made with iron from a meteorite. A team of Italian and Egyptian researchers say the high amount of nickel and cobalt is unusual. Joining us from Manchester is Joyce Tyldesley, a senior lecturer in Egyptology at the University of Manchester. Good to have you with us. First of all, how rare is it to discover something like this with elements from a meteorite?
It's very rare in ancient Egypt. What's unusual about this is that Tutankhamun was buried at a time when the Egyptians weren't actually using much iron at all. They hadn't entered what we call the Iron Age, and they wouldn't do that for a very long time. So to find iron objects in his tomb is really, really exciting for us. We do have other iron objects from Egypt, dating even earlier, and they too all seem to be made from meteorite iron. So it seems that the Egyptians are not using the terrestrial iron that they have in Egypt, but they're actually finding meteorites and then making them into artifacts, which presumably have great significance to them.
Yeah, and about that, I mean, why a meteorite? As you said, it must have some special significance. Is that something that researchers and scientists have unlocked?
Well, yes, and we know that the Egyptians considered that the bones of some of the gods were made out of metals, and it seems quite likely that they thought that iron was the bone of the god Seth. We also know that they realised that these meteorites were falling from the sky because they have the word iron, they translate it from the Egyptian as iron from the sky. So they're obviously recognising that things are coming to Earth, and they're, I think, imagining that these are the gifts of the gods. So if you find something that just arrives on Earth and it's a gift from the gods, it's going to be immensely valuable to you, not just as a metal, but as something that's connecting you with a different life, and it's absolutely precious to Tutankhamun.
All right, coming back to this life, though, what does it tell us about the state of metalworking technology in the ancient times?
Well, it's difficult to say for certain that this was made in Egypt, and the suspicion is that it was actually an import. The other things, there are a few more iron objects in Tutankhamen's tomb, but they were quite crude, they were quite small, they weren't as beautiful as this dagger. This dagger is really, really lovely. We suspect, or Egyptologists suspect, that maybe this is the dagger that was sent to Egypt from a neighbouring state during the reign of Tutankhamen's grandfather, and it's been included in his tomb because it's a very valuable piece and because it's also a family heirloom that it belonged to his grandfather. And of course, this piece was found very, very close to Tutankhamen's body. It was actually found within his bandages. So we could even go on to suspect or to suggest that maybe this iron dagger, which was so precious, so valuable, and so connected to the gods, may have even been used in Tutankhamen's own mummification, because that would have involved cutting the body open. We don't really know, but it's great to speculate on these lines.
Okay, I mean, what else does it ultimately tell us, this discovery and the items which have been found with Tutankhamun?
We haven't really studied them in as much detail as we'd like to yet. There are thousands of artifacts found with Tutankhamun, and Howard Carter did a really, really good job when he emptied the tomb 90 years ago. He recorded everything that was there, and he tried to do as much conservation as he could. But really, we're only now being able to start looking at all the artifacts and really trying to make sense of them and trying to work out why they're in there. Are they in there because they're actually just daily life items that Tutankhamun has used or might want to use? Are they there for ritual purposes? And we're starting to look at the technologies and saying, what can we learn from this? Is it showing us that the Egyptians were using ironworking? Well, no, not at this time. They weren't really. They were using meteorite iron, but they weren't actually using terrestrial iron at all. But we've got loads and loads of other stuff to look at as well. It's absolutely fascinating. It's a story that's going to keep unfolding, I think, for many, many years.
All right, we'll leave it there for now. Thanks so much, Joyce Tyldesley.
Thank you.